My deadbeat biological dad was out of my life by the time I, 21 male, was 1. My mom marries my dad when I was 18 months old, and he adopted me. Apparently, deadbeat married a few years ago and adopted his wife's daughter, and then he dropped dead earlier this year. The widow was told about me, and she decided I'd become her daughter's big brother and act as though my deadbeat dad was my dad in any way. She went through a whole ordeal to find me and started reaching out to me on Facebook. When I blocked her there, she found another social media platform, and I also blocked her there. Then she tried to get my mom to talk to me and my younger siblings, and most of my siblings are minors. One of my siblings has an art page where they post stuff, and they had to close that because she was trying to access them there. And yes, they're a minor. I have zero interest or desire to meet this child or this woman. I'm sad for a kid who lost the only dad they knew, as someone who was chosen and adopted by my dad and would be inconsolable if I lost him. This child and I have no reason to have contact. This woman will not stop saying I need to have a relationship with her child, though. I ended up unblocking my deadbeat's widow. I sent a message back that if she didn't stop, I'd consult with an attorney and have a cease and desist sent to her, and that I would escalate things more if she didn't leave me alone. She responded that I should have some compassion for her daughter and that threatening her with legal action is wrong, given their recent loss. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You have no obligation to this woman or this child, to whom you're not biologically related. I think this woman has some as yet unclear motive. Who decides their kid needs to have a relationship with some random person they've never met? Double check your deadbeat dad did legally marry this woman and did adopt her daughter. If he didn't, you might be the default next of kin for his estate. At the very least, you probably have grounds to get some of it, which is why she'd want you emotionally invested in the kid, so she can guilt you into taking less than your share. I was thinking the same thing. Might need to get a lawyer to look into the father's probate, will, etc. It could be that Pops there had remorse and included his child in the will, which could get messy due to new marriage and adoption. Still, wills may trump all of that, depending on the location where it was executed. OP, that person has been gone for 2 decades. Whatever he did later in his life was his life, not yours. You don't need to do anything for another child that he had. This lady's grasping for anything and is being very creepy about it and harassing you and your family through this. She needs help. You did the right thing, and if she continues, absolutely do the cease and desist. Update. I've been thinking about her motive too, but I don't know what it would be. The only thing I can think of is maybe, and this is a huge maybe, some of the deadbeat's family feels bad or something and wrote me into their will or whatever, and she wants it for her daughter. But even then, I really doubt that because why would they? I don't know these people at all. I've already found an attorney who can see me whenever. The next time one of us gets a message from her, I'll reach back out and have the letter sent. My parents are even offering to pay for it. I, a female teen, have a brother, teen, who's autistic. He's a year older, but was held back a grade, so we're in the same grade. Ever since I was little, I've felt like I don't matter, and the only reason my parents had me was for my brother to have a friend. To be clear, I'm not neglected or abused, but my parents expect me to build my entire life around my brother. When I was younger, they always forced me to do whatever my brother wanted because we had to do everything together. When I wanted to learn piano and he wanted to do karate, we both had to do karate. When my friends invited me to play dates, I could only go if he could. When I was really little, my parents would basically just force the other parents to take him. But as I got older, I just stopped going anywhere because I didn't want to take my brother with me. To make things worse, we moved when we were in 6th grade, and it was almost impossible for me to make new friends because my brother was with me all the time. Middle school was also horrible because 7th grade was online, and my brother was constantly clinging to me in 8th. Once we got to high school, I just stopped caring about what my parents said and did whatever I wanted. My rebellion mainly consisted of joining leadership in many clubs, I made lots of friends and started hanging out with them. My parents very clearly expressed their disapproval, but they weren't going to lock me up to stop me from doing things without my brother. I love my brother, but being forced to share my whole life with him as a kid has made me deeply resent him. He has no friends, so he sits in his room pretty much all the time. He throws massive tantrums whenever I go out with my friends or attend extracurricular activities. I feel bad for him, but I'm sick of being his constant, unwilling companion, and there's nothing I can do to help him. My parents always take his side and try to make me feel bad for living my life. Our latest conflict was about homecoming. I'm a princess, and I'm excited because I couldn't go last year because I was sick. My brother asked a girl to go with him, but she rejected him. So he's really upset and wants me not to go because he's not going. Today there was a picnic to kick off homecoming week, and he didn't go. But when I got back from it, he threw a huge tantrum when I left and was still crying when I got back hours later because he didn't want me to go to homecoming. My parents asked if I could just not go, but I told them that I don't care if my brother doesn't like it and he can't control my whole life. They said his mental health is suffering because he has no friends and doesn't have the best grades, and watching me have fun and do great at school isn't helping. I told them that his mental health was not my problem, and I'd go to homecoming whether they liked it or not. My brother's still crying in his room and didn't come out to eat dinner. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your parents aren't doing you or your brother any favors by thinking the solution is for you to stay home. Your brother has to learn that the world doesn't revolve around him. One day, your parents won't be here, and he needs to be given the tools to live independently or in a group home. Based on what you've said, it doesn't sound like he's so severe that he's unable to function. I'm surprised your parents aren't doing more to foster his independence. He needs help with his mental health, but it's up to them to get it for him and help him. You're not his parent. Absolutely. It's ridiculous for her to be expected to just pause her life for her brother's sake. Also, what about OP's mental health? Would hers not be harmed by throwing her life away because her parents and brother want her to? Hon, you're mistaken when you say that you've not been abused and neglected by your parents. This absolutely is toxic behavior. You all need family counseling. It's your parents' responsibility to help your brother cope in life without sacrificing you to do so. You're an independent person, not an emotional support animal for your brother. You deserve to have interest in a life of your own. As a side note, I can only hope my children's future teenage rebellions consist of joining leadership programs and extracurriculars. Like, seriously, a mother can only dream of such rebellions. Please keep doing that. It'll be great for you. In full sincerity, when you have no contact with them in a few years, I hope they finally realize what they've done to you. Grow and be free and happy and live your life. My 25 female best friend, Jen, 24 female, has been dating her girlfriend, Alexandra, 28, for around 6 months. Jen's been asking me to come over to Alex's house for dinner with my husband, James, 29. She wants us and her girlfriend to get along better and hasn't let go of this dinner idea. We have a toddler, so it took us a while until we were able to manage, but we did accept. Alexandra is a bit different from us. For instance, she comes from generational wealth, knows her way around art, is arrogant, etc. However, since she makes Jen exceptionally happy, I don't really care. It still sometimes shows that she's had a very different background. Alexandra's house was huge. James and I were looking at sculptures, paintings, etc. I wanted to be friendly, so I asked Alexandra about this painting that she had. She went on to explain who painted it, what it meant, how she bought it, etc. James asked her how much it cost her, and she said it was around $140K. My eyeballs practically got out of my head because you could easily buy a house with that money. I was so surprised that I said, "Holy heck, you paid that much for this thing?" Alexandra did not appreciate that and said art really didn't have a price and stuff like that. During dinner, I made another one of these comments when I realized the cutlery used at our table was all silver. And I was like, it's heavier, uncomfortable, and they cost God knows what. Alexandra clearly didn't like this comment too, because I saw her squeezing Jen's hand a bit, but thankfully she didn't say anything. After dinner, Jen told me I had embarrassed her with those comments. She said she wanted us and Alexandra to bond better, not the other way around. She's still upset with me. Am I the idiot? Edit. Jen is also much more comfortable financially, but she spends money way more reasonably, unlike her girlfriend, which is what caught me off guard. You are the idiot. You acknowledge she came from a privileged background. Your husband asked a very rude question about how much a piece cost. Then you said what you did. You two combined were totally a couple of idiot guests. Way to go to support your friend. The cutlery comment is what really gets me. Maybe you can say the painting was a reaction out of genuine surprise, but sitting down and criticizing the silverware of your host is ridiculous. You don't come into people's homes and make rude comments about the stuff they have. Doing it once could be a mistake because you were surprised, but doing it again shows you're rude. People have different amounts of money and spend their money differently. That's just life. You say Alexandra's arrogant, but honestly, you come across as more arrogant, judging her and subtly, or not so subtly, shaming her on how she spends her money in her home when she's been kind to invite you there. Caught that too, right? Not once did Alexandra come off as arrogant. I knew OP was projecting from sentence 1. Lady, you're rude. Plain and simple. It's like you're feral. Do you also ask acquaintances how much they weigh or their salary? Did your parents ever teach you, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all? Seriously, no home training or basic manners. Nothing. Feral is precisely the right word to use. Next time they visit you, I hope they ask if your couches were from a flea market and that they didn't like your Dollar General cutlery, because that's what you did to them. My husband has a daughter from a previous relationship. For context, she's still a little kid. Prior to us getting married, my husband and his ex-girlfriend had what seemed like a well-oiled machine when it came to co-parenting their daughter. I've always said I wouldn't date men with children. I don't have any children of my own yet because I didn't want that extra baggage. But to be honest, it was their co-parenting relationship that passed my mind at ease to become comfortable with the idea of becoming serious about him. I love my husband and his daughter dearly. However, her mother's slowly becoming a pain in my butt. Prior to me being in the picture, all expenses for their daughter had been split 50-50. There were no problems besides the little oddball expenses here and there that my husband had to cover 100%. Again, nothing major. It all started over the summer. My husband's ex-girlfriend wanted to go out of the country for a 2-week trip. She asked my husband if he could pay for their daughter 100%. At first, he advised that he would, but then it dawned on him that she'd been pulling this kind of stunt for a few months now, where all of a sudden, she's unable to pay for her portion of their daughter's expenses. He then advised her that he will pay for half, as they've been doing for years. I don't think she was too happy with that, but they went on their trip in summer, and all seemed to be well until it was time for school. She advised him that she wouldn't be able to pay for half of their daughter's tuition, as she's been doing along with her portion of the household expenses for the home that she shares with their daughter, which, in essence, means that he's going to be expected to fill the gap. As a result of all that's happening, my husband advised that now wouldn't be the best time for us to start our own family, as he would be stretched too thin financially. We've been talking about having a baby for the past few months, and we're about to start trying. Quite frankly, I'm angry that we have to put our family on hold due to his ex not being able to pull her weight financially. Am I the idiot for telling him that he needs to draw clear lines that his responsibility is his daughter alone, and his ex needs to figure out her crap and start pulling her financial weight again, like she's been doing? Not the idiot. She suddenly can't pay for childcare expenses right after a 2-week international vacation? Ex-girlfriend has decided to try to squeeze as much money as she can get out of your husband. They need a formal agreement as to parenting and payment of expenses. If she can't afford the school the child has been going to, then the child can go to public school. He shouldn't be paying for her vacations with mom. That's for mom to pay for, or she can leave the child home with him while she goes. This isn't a draw clear lines. It's a get a formal agreement and hold her to it. She can't pay her half of the home, then sell the home, and she can figure out her place to live. Pretty much. Guess she figures new wife will help foot the bills for her child now. My sticking point in all of this, why on earth would he pay anything for a 2-week international vacation that he's not attending? He very much needs to get a court order stating exactly how much he has to pay for anything. Mom needs to figure out her own finances. OP, your husband's being taken advantage of, and she's pushing him for all he'll give. She's doing it on purpose. You really need to rethink this relationship. You will never get to have the child you want, and he'll always put the ex above you. Maybe it's time to move on and find someone who wants to have children with you. He's not it. It's not wrong for him to want to support his child, but he does not have to support his ex. Maybe a trial separation to see how he wants to proceed, and if he doesn't want to have a life with you, then you need to move on. Don't waste another 5 years hoping you'll come to terms with what you want also. My male 41 wife, Jane, turns 40 in November. I bought her a pair of AirPod Pros a few years ago for her birthday since she needed new headphones. I've got a set and she borrowed them a lot, so I know she'd use them. She loved them. She takes good care of her things, but since then hers have started acting up or glitching and losing battery quickly. I know it frustrates her. Mine don't have these issues, but they're obviously not brand new, as I've had them for a couple of years. I can get a new pair for free through my job. I do need a new set, but why pass up the opportunity? And since her birthday's approaching, I plan to give her my old set. I want to clarify that I'm not planning on only giving her a pair of used headphones. I've got 3 or 4 other gifts that she'll love. That being said, I worry that she'll see me giving her my old pair as hand-me-downs, or as me splurging on myself instead of her. I wouldn't be surprised, since I myself might feel a bit of resentment if someone bought themselves a new item and gifted me the old one. I don't want to pass on the opportunity to get a new pair for free. I also don't want to toss out my current pair, and I'm sure it sounds selfish, but I want a new pair for myself, not get a new pair and give it away. So I guess my question is, would it make me the idiot if I gave my current used pair to my wife while keeping the new pair for myself? You are the idiot. Are you aware you have a brand new pair you could gift her instead of giving her your old ones? I can't figure out the logic at all. If you're passing along your old ones, it's not a birthday present. It's, hey, I got new AirPods. Enjoy my old ones. It's her 40th birthday. Just get her a good present and don't make used AirPods any part of it. Agreed, this is so strange. Why didn't he first think of giving the wife the free ones? This is bloody bizarre. Dude, if you want the new pair so badly, keep them and buy her new ones and consider your old ones spares that either of you will be able to claim if the new ones start acting up. Taking the new ones yourself and giving her your hand-me-downs would only be appropriate if you were not giving them as a gift. Doing it as a gift is tacky.